Go. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the first RTM Public Works Committee meeting for the new RTM session of 2025. Just a couple of comments from the chair. Welcome, and I would like to congratulate all of you on your volunteerism. The town of Darien is blessed with many people who volunteer for the town. Your sacrifice and your personal time that you give to the town is part of that volunteerism, and on behalf of the town and the RTM, thank you. And thanks again to our 2024 first chair, Mark Artoletta, who did as well and chose to re-up with Public Works Committee. Not sure exactly why, but that's fine.
My favorite committee.
For the upcoming session. And thanks also to
You say that to all the committees.
TV 79, thank you very much for all your support. Okay. One thing we need to discuss before we go much further is the taking of the minutes. Now, last year, the committee agreed that we would have a different person take the minutes at each meeting. We started with a list that ran alphabetically by last name, A to Z. I have two lists in front of me. One is A to Z. The other is Z to A.
Is that sorted on last name or first name?
That's sorted by last name. So, what direction are we going to take?
I'd like to make a motion, we start with the one with the Z's.
Rich, second. All right, this motion is,
We're both A's.
open to discussion.
I'm in the middle, it doesn't matter. I know it's going to say right away. So.
Good evening.
Well, we have gone natural alphabetical order many years.
Yes, it's been many years that we've gone A to Z.
Great, so,
Are you trying to be a change agent here?
I'll do the minutes. I usually did it A to Z because I was first and I let me get it out of the way right off the bat. No one objects if you take the bullet first.
There is a plus to that.
That's true.
There is a plus to that. All right, so are we ready to vote? The motion is to have the choosing of the secretary by alphabetical order, starting with Z going to A by last name.
Glad I got here for the important stuff. Do we have a wheel that we can?
I didn't bring it, I forgot to bring it.
I don't know if this needs to be a motion. I think you.
Okay,
as the chair.
are we all in favor?
I
All
defer
in
to the
favor, say
chair.
aye, and I want this to be
Aye.
a committee motion. Okay, so, new member John Sartorius.
To be fair to him, he's got to leave. Like, he's got a time clock.
So John, just like that, you've got a good sense of how it works around here.
Can I ask that you put the note taker in the email you sent prior, just so people know to bring
So
their
they get a heads
laptop?
up. Yeah, that's exactly what happened here, I didn't bring a laptop.
I'm not following you exactly, I'm sorry.
So when you send out your email prior to a meeting, can you
Yes.
say note taker will be?
Oh, I'll say, yeah, on the alert. Well, that leads me to my next request. I need a secretary for the secretaries. Someone who will keep track of who last spoke, or who last took the notes, and who's up next, unless you want me to.
We can do that at the end of each meeting.
Yeah, we can just
Yeah.
discuss, okay,
Yeah, let's,
Patrick Parr, you're on deck.
That's,
good thing you asked, Patrick.
I'm not
He
math
walked
word.
right into it, he walked
I
right
figured
into it.
SP. That's
It'll be in the meeting.
right. It'll be interesting when we get up to the A's, because I don't know.
Yeah, there's a
Second
lot,
letter.
there's a lot of A's.
Lot of A's,
Lot of A's.
yeah.
Edelman, Adaletta, Aponte, Argumbao, Vincent. Those are all the A's.
Yeah.
All right, just a couple of other things. Our first selectman, John Zagrodsky, kind of alluded to this in his State of the Town address. The RTM is a nonpartisan body, and we, the RTM Public Works Committee, will conduct ourselves in the same manner as the RTM. Civility and esprit de corps is our theme of conduct, okay? I do not want to let any meetings get too crazy, okay? The other thing is budget, Board of Selectmen calendar. I thought it would be interesting for us to have an idea of what's coming up with them and their schedule for the budget, assembling the budget, and then being ready to submit it to the Finance and Budget Committee. They start on Monday, January 27th in a regular meeting with a meeting budget presentation, and then that runs Tuesday, Wednesday that week, and then they come back the following week, Tuesday the 4th of February, with another budget review, and Wednesday the 5th, which I think is the final budget review. And I would assume from that point, they would get ready to present that to the Board of Finance. So that's what we're dealing with there.
So Ralph, on that, I don't think they broke it out yet, but usually a few of those sessions are, I think they call working sessions where different departments present.
Yes.
So, okay.
So they'll break it down amongst those in terms of, so Ed will present his budget
Yes.
and we kind of will all be
Yes.
zeroed in on that, but there's a lot of other stuff around the edges too.
Yes, yes. This is gonna be a very interesting budget
Yes,
season,
it is.
in my opinion.
They're all interesting.
Yeah.
So should we liaise in some way with Ed prior to?
Well, you know, I'm trying to remember when we met with him last year. My recollection is it was in February, and it was kind of after they had done their budget work. That's
Right.
my recollection.
And I think we were frustrated with that because we had hoped to get a meeting in January, is my recollection. And
Anybody else have
Our
any
January
recollection that they'd like to add?
our January meeting is January 9th.
Yes.
Our February meeting is 5 weeks later, February 13th, when all the shouting will be over. So
So,
January 9th would be awesome to get Ed at our next meeting.
is that the general opinion of the committee?
Yes.
Certainly that.
I think that makes sense.
I'll take that.
Subject to
Yes.
his, subject to his availability, of course.
Yeah, I'll get in touch with him. I'll give it a shot. Are we flexible on the January 9th, or are we flexible to have a special meeting if necessary?
I'd be good with
Yes.
either of
Yes.
those, yeah.
I think it's
Okay.
important enough that we hear from Ed directly, so.
Okay.
And not just as an update, but really as a budget planning.
It's a
Yeah,
budget preparation.
no, I only ask about the dates because, you know, I gotta work with him on what his schedule allows for as well, okay? But the main point being is we wanna have that conversation with him prior to when those budget discussions commence.
Yeah.
Correct?
So Ralph, actually, I'm remembering
Are you?
that, yeah, I am,
Good.
that the reason it was possibly February, not January, is I had reached out and he wanted to have his presentation, his initial presentation, that work session put together for our meeting. So I don't know if that makes a difference to this committee as to whether or not.
His work presentation for the Board of Selectmen.
The first, which is the initial presentation, which is a
Makes sense.
review of the last year, and then what he's proposing. He didn't, I may be paraphrasing here a bit, but he didn't want to present to us before he presented to the Board of Selectmen.
Well, are we asking for a presentation though, or are we just asking?
Well, just
asking
share with you-
To be able to have.
Sharing
input?
with you
Yeah, well,
Point you raised about
but I
January
think
versus
Patrick
February.
raises a good question, you know, what are we really looking for here?
Right.
You know, I don't wanna put the guy on the spot with the Board of Selectmen, that's for sure.
Right.
Okay, so I would like to approach it more as just, we wanna have just a general discussion
Yep.
about a state of the town in Public Works version, if you will.
But I think
It is-
focusing on priorities.
Yeah, his priorities going into the budget season.
Yeah.
Okay.
But he'll be.
We're
he'll have to
dancing
be-
around.
But it'll have to be vague at that point.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
won't, he
This
won't.
is our chance to
Yeah.
download to Ed. Here's what, I mean, here's what our priorities are.
Here's what we're thinking about.
Right. And I think we know some of the top priorities for us, right? I mean, it's our favorite topics, right? But I think it's our chance to reiterate to him, to say, to first get any feedback from him about, you know, how we work together, things like that. Which I
Right.
think has generally been very
And then
collegial.
and then give us an opportunity to say, these are some things on our mind.
Exactly. And I think, again, our meeting's on January 9th, that's already 4 weeks away, right?
Mhm.
If we have a special meeting between the 9th and the end of the month, that's 5 or 6 weeks from today. I mean, with no disrespect to Ed, we can probably find a time in that window where we can
Yeah.
have this meeting.
I just wanted to be flexible in trying to nail down a date,
Yeah.
that's all.
But I think Frank's right, I think the way that we couch it to Ed, needs to be, not careful, but just full disclosure, we're looking to have
An
a back and
opportunity.
forth with you as opposed to hearing what you're going to present to the Board of Select. We're gonna hear that.
Yeah, we know that's.
So we don't need that. What we really wanna do is be able to have
A chance to
a
talk.
discussion about what our priorities are
We're looking for what
versus
our interests are.
before he puts that together. I think just
Finalize
just laying it out to
it.
him and saying, that's what
I
he wants to do.
suspect he's probably already started it, but that's.
Well, that way it
Right.
preempts his, but wait, I wanna put it together before I.
Well, but then that raises a second question. So we want the opportunity to provide input, I agree with that. Do we want to understand what he's, going to submit the budget after it meets, oh, we're talking about 2 meetings with that, is really what it comes down to. One, to influence what he submits, and one, to understand what he submits, so that as we go.
Well, we can always, I mean, once he submits that, we can always meet with him afterwards to discuss it.
So do we,
But
that's the second
but I
meeting.
think-
We may not need that, it may be quite clear within the budget. Once he presents to
Yeah.
the Board of Selectmen, he goes through kind of a full review with them.
Right, right.
We have our questions that will be put into that forum. From my experience last year, it's like, there's not a lot that we're gonna have as open questions after that, and we can figure out
The
then.
pie's pretty baked.
Yeah, it's really, you know,
It makes a pretty complete cake. I think our goal is to get a couple extra ingredients in there.
oh, and this
Stick with
is,
food and
Just
alcohol.
let me know.
yeah,
It's not that in the notes, John?
and it's an opportunity to focus, we've got
Not yet.
constituencies.
He wants to add more ingredients.
That's why this is
They
taped,
made
John.
pie.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do know this is taped, right? So you can,
Yeah, you can always play it back
Oh,
on TV set.
okay,
And you
Fair.
don't need to.
Okay, I mean, I think I know what we wanna do, at least in the near future, and that is get to him before he makes his final decisions and presents his budget. So let me work on that, and, I'll get
So we're gonna
back.
try and do that between January 9th.
Right, before that first general meeting by the Board of Selectmen, which is coming up, whatever I said before.
End of January.
The 27th.
Well, yeah, I think it's the third week of January,
right,
something
so
like
there's
that.
some time in there to, we're not,
Somewhere in the month of January, we wanna.
Yeah, their first meeting is the 27th, so we
before
wanna have a nice tete-a-tete with Ed prior to that, certainly.
Ideally at the January 9th meeting, we have, we
Sorry?
can do our January 9th meeting or 6th meeting.
Yeah, if he could make the 9th, I'd be a happy
That'd be
camper. Okay, because I'd like to also give him time to hear and absorb and think about what we might wanna say to him. And maybe he will actually take that in consideration to what he's gonna present. Maybe. All right,
Sorry to
anything?
back up, but do we wanna approve the minutes from the last meeting?
Yes, that's coming up.
Okay.
Okay, so I hope in one way, shape, or form, everybody got a copy of the minutes. Okay, does anybody have any questions, concerns, corrections to the minutes? Don't all speak at once. Okay, can I have a motion to approve the minutes as submitted? Mark, second by Jeff. Any discussion about the motion? No discussion, all those in favor of approving the minutes, raise your hands. Very good, it's unanimous. Thank you.
So for John, we have to log who voted how, right?
Yes,
It's unanimous.
it's
but-
unanimous.
Unanimous, kind of.
But for John's benefit, we should probably go around the table and just introduce ourselves, so you have our names.
Yes, I'm gonna pass around this list, and if you would, just check off your name so I know you're here, and we can give that to John so he can have that for the record.
Thank you.
Rough one, things, I don't know if you'd be open to it. Send John the Word version of the agenda.
Yes.
You can use that as
You can
the
almost,
outline.
yeah,
of the
use that.
minutes and just start filling in.
Okay.
yeah, it's like a,
Because half
it
the
can
words.
serve
is-
as like a template,
Exactly.
and then you just insert
Makes
around
sense.
the agenda.
All the way back. It'll only take a week, John, don't worry. Don't worry.
But you just
Put
have to
these
have
minutes
it
in.
done in 3 days.
Yeah, we're not voting on anything that's, you know, appropriation or
Okay.
Yeah.
anything formal, so it'll be fine. Okay, so we review, all right, review the minutes. Okay, you all received a meeting, a calendar meeting. Assume you all
Yes.
memorized it and posted it in your own calendars, so we all can keep track of when we're having our next meeting, which we already mentioned is being January 9th. Okay. Public Works Committee
Let's keep it here
focus
so I can- you can look at it.
area assignments. Okay, so I put together a one-page,
Pen.
here, I'm gonna,
Nice.
here. Pass this around, that's a printout of the schedule. And pass this around, this is a printout of the focus assignments. Now, I'd like to make one thing clear.
Keep that.
From this point forward, 98% of what I'm gonna send you in terms of documentation, whatever, is just gonna be an attachment on my email. I'm not gonna make it a regular practice to print out things, okay?
Yep.
Okay, just a point of information. Okay, so, Here
You're
are,
spoiling us tonight.
I'm sorry?
You've already spoiled us tonight.
I know, but it's, I want to start off on a good foot, okay? All right, so number one, finance and budget, 25-26 DPW budget, operating capital expenditures, and a liaison with the RTM Budget and Finance Committee. Do I have anyone willing to volunteer to be involved with that? I see a Jeff Kraus, and I see a Mark Valletta. Do we have any idea how many people we want to have? I would think 2 would be
Minimum.
the max, or the minimum, okay, you can say minimum.
There you have
Well,
it.
this is Aaron, yeah.
We just covered
We
it
know
all.
max.
We have
The
converted.
Venn diagram.
Well, we've got 9 areas.
Well, I think, yeah, I certainly think 2 people can work together pretty efficiently. And, when we start getting into 3, it starts to get a little bit more cumbersome. Anybody else have a desire to get involved with finance and budget besides the 2 volunteers? All right, gentlemen, thank you very much. You are on assignment.
Sorry, who's,
Okay,
I'll
so
get,
that's Mark Adaletta.
And let's not forget that we also have a number of absent members.
Yes, we do, we do.
Who get assigned?
Who is
Assigned.
assigned
At
to
their
this?
discretion.
At their own peril.
How do you think I made it here
Yeah,
tonight?
sewer commission, here we come.
Yeah, some of us have a soft spot for the sewer. Just saying.
All right. Land and buildings. I mean, clearly Great Island is a rather significant piece of land.
Well, you got Great Island already as a separate category.
Mm,
Am I looking at the, yeah.
no, I don't see
No?
it. No, I kind of kept that in
Well,
together
that was
with
the-
all
that
of our
was-
lands.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Wrong list.
Yeah, that's
Island Farms, Edgerton Street 38, and then I just threw in there properties in conservancy. This is a concern I have, I don't know if it's appropriate here, but, I don't know if you are all familiar with the application for the 175 apartments on Thorndale Avenue, or Thorndale Circle rather, behind Nielsen's. And I would venture to guess that's got a pretty good chance of being approved despite my efforts otherwise. And one of the provisions in that is to place a parcel, 2.3 acres of land that is south of I-95 where that Stony Brook comes flowing down. And of course, in heavy rains, that water backs up onto that 2.3 acres, and it is quite a thing to see. It is,
Is
So-
that near Baker Field, or is it a
no,
different spot?
no, it's,
Right behind
I
the
don't know if you know where
cemetery.
Freight Court is, yep,
As you go over the bridge on Cemetery, you pass the little bridge, the culvert, that's what it is right there.
Got it.
so they said, well, we're gonna place that in conservancy. And so my question then was, okay, what are you gonna do with it? How is it gonna be cared for, so to speak? Because this, and then they said it was gonna be under Environmental Protection Commission. And I'm like, then how are they gonna do it? Because they don't have any resources, they don't have any budget. So how is the land gonna be cared for? I never got a straight answer, frankly. We'll work that out. So I don't know, does that become town property? No, I don't think so. It's still, it's in conservancy, but I'd be damned if I know how it's ever gonna be cared for. That's just something I had to get off my chest. So we can scratch that off the list because it's a gray area. But the other parcels of land, be it Great Island being the dominant one, certainly. But we have other parcels as well, Highland Farms, Edgerton Street, 38. Those are all properties owned by the town.
So Rolf, what is this category? I've kind of lost track.
Land and buildings.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got town hall, police station house, DPW garage, Mather Center, the gym. That all kind of goes together, I think.
I think
Anybody,
that was part of this last year, or last session,
you know,
without Great Island.
Yeah, so if Great Island's in there, obviously I should cover it.
yeah,
I'm at those.
I was kind of
It's
assuming.
kind of that expanded part that I'm
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you know, someone else. if they're
I'll
gonna-
partner with somebody. I got
if you
Great
can
Island.
partner with another person.
Carve
then-
out Great Island and give Mark Great Island, because that's what he's doing anyway,
Yeah.
right? And then the rest of it could be somebody else.
Come on, Mark, there's 24 hours in the day.
That's Great Island.
Would anybody else have an interest in the other pieces of the pie in that regard?
I could, if you don't wanna do it anymore.
Yeah, there wasn't much to do.
If you wanna continue, that's fine,
Continue to do
otherwise I
nothing?
could,
Yeah, no.
it's up to you.
Aggressively.
It's when stuff comes up with the buildings, most of it, I
Yeah.
think about it. It's, in the-
Yeah, the buildings is really the other part of the pie, really. And the only big thing that I can think of that's coming up, building-wise, is the gym floor.
Right,
Has
that's
to
something.
be- Has to be replaced.
That'll be a budget
because
item.
it's-
And the police station's already taken care of, because they're.
Yeah, we already just approved
Yeah, so
the
it's
full-time
probably like
worker
the last.
to cover the police
I'm
station.
hoping, I'll jump in.
It was that
Well,
expansion that Rolf was covering of.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to throw you off
I
there.
can't, I like.
You scared people, Rolf.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Alright, so I'll stick with it, if you're my Great Island
Yeah, I got
guy,
Great
and I
Island.
can back you up on Great Island, so it's moving through everything.
Okay, so that's Patrick Parr and Mark Badaletta. Mark would be the point man on Great Island for clear reasons.
John might not be aware of the clear reason, but Mark is already serving on the Great Island Advisory Committee,
Got it.
the GAAC.
Yeah.
So
So we kind of
hopefully
have
this
an
allows
inside
to
voice to that.
leverage the same neurons for two purposes.
Phone down.
I'm not really sure how that fits in here,
No,
So,
you can forget about
So
what
be
I,
in Rolf's
you forget
mind.
about my babble.
It's
on
not
that,
owned by the
okay?
town.
Rolf's musings. So it may come up. Exactly.
I mean,
I think it's in every focus group.
Yeah, someone is pissed about
Sewers.
yeah, everybody's got an
Sewers.
accent,
Yeah.
right, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I know, I know.
Hey, Rolf's the chair.
Okay,
We like
Advisory Commission on Coastal Waters. Now, last year, that was Vincent.
And I think it'll be him again.
I have a suspicion.
He's Mr. Coastal.
All right, why don't we give that to
John?
Vincent?
Yeah, let's mark Vincent down as being
He's been
the
volunteering.
nominee volunteer for that. Okay,
Is that a
and,
one-person job?
well, yeah, it's,
So far.
because,
I mean, is there anything that's gonna happen with the dredging or whatnot in the next
Well,
year or
it's-
two?
it's-
I mean, it could
well-
get pretty strong.
there, Zagrodzky said that both the Pear Tree Point project and the Weed Beach were gonna be in this year's
Budget.
financing.
I didn't say it was gonna be in the budget, it was gonna be
Okay.
discussed.
Yeah, it'll be on the agenda, let's put it that way, okay? Whether or not it gets budgeted, that's a whole nother issue, but I think Pear Tree Point, they can't avoid it any longer.
Cause isn't there a ticking clock in terms of
Yeah,
funds? that we
Pear
have to
Tree Point
use?
has definitely got a clock on it,
That's why
okay?
they would-
That has to be completed by 2026.
2026, that's
Yeah.
like,
Right, but you remember that the work that's going on there is very seasonal. You can't do that any
Right.
time of the year. You have to go in at certain times of the year, which restricts the windows of when you can really get this done. Okay, and there's dredging involved from the ramp around the boat club.
yeah.
Okay, they're gonna raise the beach, they're gonna redo the parking lot, they're gonna redo the drainage. It's a big project. So whoever's gonna, get involved with that, that's something that a lot of people in town are gonna be looking at, and watching, that's for sure, in my opinion. And then what they also wanna do is, there's a dredging proposal to then take it from the end of the boat club out along the channels, along where the Norotan Yacht Club is. Okay, and they wanna try and couple those two together so that they get the dredging company in there for one combined work order, if you will. And so that has to be all coordinated with the timing that's involved with the Pear Tree Point project as it is. So there's a number of moving parts going on there.
So let's assign, and if need be throughout the year, we'll add somebody more to it, but Vinny's our guy for right now.
For now, Vinny's the man.
Okay, next
Okay,
one.
sewer commission. Gee, I wonder who would be involved with the sewer commission. Frank?
I'll be glad to continue to connect with those folks. Although
Okay.
we'll find credit where it's due, you've done you've carried more than half of the
Well,
sewage load on this.
thank you, Frank.
Just waiting for that.
Thank you, Frank. Well, I'm gonna reserve the right to stick my nose in here and there.
Anytime you'd like.
All right.
Stick your nose in the sewer anytime you want.
All right, so the big thing, Frank, that I'm very much concerned about is this amendment or whatever they're doing to the ordinance regarding illicit sump pump hookups.
Right.
Okay, that is definitely something that's in progress.
Okay.
Is
So-
it? Because I haven't seen it come through rules
Well, let me connect.
Well, they don't necessarily have to come through rules at this point.
with an ordinance.
There's an existing ordinance, and I think they believe that they can amend the ordinance.
This is enforcement, this is not new ordinance.
Okay.
It's putting on
Ordinance
penalties.
comes
and
through
it's just-
TGSA, right?
Yeah, it's just adding
Well,
penalties.
ordinance action,
Oh, okay.
like, I mean, if there is there is an ordinance, you can't hook this stuff up, right?
Okay.
Now, if they're just gonna enforce that ordinance, I don't think they need to come back to RTM in order to enforce
Correct.
the law that's on the books.
Yeah,
Right.
got it.
Right.
Except that, as I understand it, not to belabor this, but the enforcement is undefined on how they can enforce, what the fines would be, what actions are taken as a result of that enforcement.
I'll connect,
Well, that's,
So anyway, that's.
that's what's in progress. All of that's,
so
In
I'll
discussion.
connect with Darren and get the.
yeah, he can probably give you some insight on that, no
Yep.
question about it. But, and then when we even meet with our, whatever, supervisor of town public works, okay? Okay.
But, I mean, sewer is one of the most reliable groups.
Is everybody aware of what happened, what was it, last week or the week before,
Mhm.
down at Weed Beach? The sewer break?
No, I'm not aware.
Significant sewer spill.
What was it, about 100,000 gallons
Mhm.
of sewage?
Delicious.
Well,
But
hold
it
on.
was contained. and
Yeah, no, they did a great job, they jumped right on it. They, and had it been in like downtown Darien, it would have been a far more serious situation than it was. But they jumped right on it, and they did a good job to get it under control pretty quick.
Why did it happen? Do we know?
Failure, pipe failure.
Just aged infrastructure.
You know, my own feeling is because it's down near the ocean, I think there's a saltwater influence on that piping there, and salt water will erode almost anything, so I think that was a factor. Okay, drainage and flooding. We have DPW, the stormwater drainage Coach Lamp Salt Box Drainage Project going on, and DPW, along with P&Z, is rewriting the drainage manual for the town.
So I was on that last year, I'm happy to do it again.
Okay, you're on. That's Ian Laird.
That was me too, right?
You wanna,
Yeah, sure.
you wanna jump on that, Patrick?
Sure.
Okay, so Patrick Park
You did more than I
is
did.
serving double duty, as I understand right now.
There you go.
All right, so he's maxed out, Patrick.
Okay, unlimited.
Um, Okay. DPW Transfer Station Recycling Center. The Advisory Committee on Sustainability has been reinstated. It was done in November by the Board of Selectmen. And I think those members were pretty much the same members that had been on the
Is that what
committee.
they did?
Yeah,
Is Craig on there or no?
I don't remember the name Craig.
Flaherty?
No. No, he was off quite
He's
some
been on
time
there,
ago.
yeah.
He might, from time to time, look in, you know, as an outside advisor, but he's not on the committee. Okay, but the big thing that's going on there is apparently they're asking them to re-look at and give a new look at the whole food scrap program, which we have in town. It's strictly volunteer, but I think they're gonna refocus on that among other things that they would normally do. Okay, anybody willing to step up on DPW transfer station recycling?
Who was on it last year?
Page. I could do it.
Page, yeah.
I could do it.
Eric?
Our goals.
Eric Golders, thank you, Eric.
I'd do it with you if it requires two people.
You're welcome.
No, yeah, I'd hold off for the moment because I don't even know if they can have a meeting yet.
They have.
They
Well,
have.
not within our RTM timeframe, but they have, the
Recently?
Sustainability has had their first meeting.
Did they? Okay, I'll have to check DD 79, see how that
I
went.
haven't stumbled across.
It's broader than just that, the swap shop kind of gets caught up in here too.
Of course,
Right?
yeah, no question. Yeah,
Focus last
it's down there, swap shop back in operation. Okay, roads and sidewalks. Patrick Keane. Anybody else? Because,
I can't shake this bogey.
It's like a smell.
What are you saying?
Ian, were you raising your hand as well?
I did, but Frank,
You'll
was
defer
After
to
Frank.
You're willing to defer to Frank? Okay,
I mean,
all right.
we know that.
This is gonna be something.
Well,
Now, I don't know what the Board of Selectmen are really doing, frankly.
Well, they haven't taken any action yet. They're still, I talked to John about it.
Deliberating?
They're still formulating what they're gonna do.
Right, that sounds familiar.
I mean,
Right.
they've made John anyway, has made a commitment to come up
John,
with some sort of action on it. There's a lot of pressure on it, so I would guess that the Board of Selectmen will take some action of some sort.
yes, I think you're right. All right, so that's Frank Edelman, Patrick Keane. That's roads and sidewalks. Dams and bridges, oh my. Yes, you did. You willing to take that on again, Rich? Okay. So, your email says Rich Kymie, but then again, in the listings for the committee, it's Rich Aponte.
Right, it's my wife and I.
Okay.
Rich
So,
Kimmy.
so how do we recognize you? Are you a Kymie or Aponte?
No, Kimmy is his
Kimmy.
wife's
Kimmy's my
name.
wife's name.
Oh, Kimmy's your wife, all right, so you're
That's right.
Aponte, your last name.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I'm sorry. Thank you. Okay, so that's Rich Aponte.
I call her Kimey.
Okay, so what's going on there? The Hanson Road Bridge, which is in progress, the Rings End Road Bridge repair, which is to commence if it hasn't already, and the Connecticut Department of Transportation, I-95 Bridge Project 06821. That's the
Culvert,
culvert that goes
famous,
along the road, going
Oh.
down, Ledge Road, going down on the entryway to I-95. There's a drainage there, and it connects
it's
to a
not Ledge Road,
culvert.
it's from Heights Road, right?
Well, it originates, yeah, the water originates from Heights Road, it comes down though
It
to
goes-
that drainage area, and then connects with the culvert that goes under 95 and comes out over to
Maple.
Maple. And there was quite a bit of concern about that, particularly about the where it comes out at Maple.
Right.
So that's gonna be interesting. My last time I looked at it, they were going to be advertising for bids in December, right now, so.
Plus they had that corrective bid item with the dam.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay,
While we're there, just a quick update on the Hanson Road Bridge. The work is ahead of schedule, but they're stopped because they're waiting for the D boxes and the cement block boxes to come in, and those are behind schedule.
lovely.
So they're probably on schedule, but
But the boxes aren't.
the boxes aren't. So they really can't do much more yet. I talked to the site manager last week, and he thinks they'll get them shortly. So, it's not like months, but we're talking about a matter of weeks. So hopefully that'll be done
All right,
on time.
it's good to hear.
And that's one of the ones that's time sensitive, right, in order to get reimbursed, if I remember?
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna be an issue.
Okay.
I mean, that's my sense.
Yeah, no, there's some.
Okay, these last two items are just things I put on there because I know they're either coming up or they're things that have been already in progress. Town Plan of Conservation, which is to be completed by 2026. Now, I know that the lead group for that is planning and zoning, but I mean, I've read the existing Town Plan of Conservation, and there's many things in there that are definitely public works related. So they say that they want to reach out to everybody and everybody should, try and give their input. I wouldn't mind having a meeting with them and so we can give our input as a Public Works Committee at some point. I don't know if that's this year or next year.
That's this year.
Okay, there you go, it's this
Even
year.
though it's got a 2026 date on it,
Completion, yeah.
all
Yeah.
of the work is done this year.
So is there a committee doing this work?
They hired a consultant.
A consultant?
Well, it's Planning and Zoning Commission that has overall responsibility for it, with heavy input from PZ&H and the town. So there's a format for, I mean, we do this every 10 years.
Yeah,
So
no, I get
there's
it.
a process for doing this, and the consultant was just hired to sort of manage the process to make sure we get enough town input from residents. So,
So PZ&H subcommittee to the RTM.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they're the point as far as the RTM is concerned.
But I think you're right, Ralph. There are a number of important issues. If
Yeah.
you go back through the 2016
Yeah,
POCD,
yeah,
there are a lot of public works related topics that are in there. And particularly if we're talking about roads and sidewalks and
Yeah.
that sort of thing where, you know, it's gonna be, I wouldn't say contentious, but it's gonna be a hot topic. And other public works infrastructure issues, I think we probably should be secondary on this.
Yeah, I think we should make it clear in rules that we'd like for Public Works to be secondary on the POCD. And then we ought to, throughout this year, set up time with the
I agree.
consultant to attend one of our meetings, one of the 10 meetings we'll have, to focus on the topic.
And maybe liaise with PZ&H, that's
right, so who should I approach
Amy.
initially? Is that something I approach
Or-
the rules
I-
commission?
I can take
initially?
care of rules, you can just tell me,
Okay.
ask me to,
Okay,
when this comes up, to make sure we're a second on it, so it hasn't come up yet. And then with regard to working with the consultant,
yeah,
I'd suggest you consider liaising with Amy. PZ&H.
Right.
Well, maybe the
Well, just
commission.
that you're going to do
I was
it.
thinking about,
I
yeah.
think I think Planning and Zoning Commission,
I was thinking about going
Commission
to
or,
the commission.
or
The commission.
commission, okay, that's what I was asking, is PZ&H committee involved,
well, the consultant was hired by the commission.
commission, okay.
So I think we
Well, then talk to the
liaise
commission.
with Jeremy and say, I mean, maybe through Amy, I mean, it should all be a,
Yeah,
You know what, I'll reach out to her
right, because the two of you are gonna wanna be involved.
as, whatever, cohorts, if you will.
Yeah.
And, you know, that we can, you know, try and coordinate something, but ultimately, we wanna meet with this consultant.
I would suggest, it's online, you know, and it gets pretty detailed, but I was involved in the 2016 POCD. I think it would behoove everyone to review that
Mhm.
document,
Mm-hmm.
and it's on the town website, and you have to dig a little bit to get it, but,
It's called Plan of Conservation and Development.
Yeah, right,
I
right,
think you left the D part off.
Did I miss?
Missed-
Oh my God.
It changes the whole tone of the,
yes, it does. Particularly in light of what's happening right now. Anyway, I think it would be helpful if everyone was pretty facile with the POCD.
Okay.
Who's the consultant?
I
Don't know. I
don't know off the top of my head. So that's more evolving in this conversation as being a committee effort to get in contact with this consultant. So I'll kind of
Maybe
take
we need
the
to
point on that.
figure, well, you again have volunteered generously to be the chair, maybe we can identify someone else who can be the actual point person to be in touch with Amy, in touch with the consultants, in touch with the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Well, I'd like to be initial contact with Amy and see what strategy we come
Yeah,
up with.
why don't we-
Okay.
I-
Let me do that,
Yeah.
and then, you know, we'll think about maybe another person to help in that endeavor. So mark me down on that, and then we'll go through some of these other names that are not here tonight, maybe we'll figure that out. Okay, Appendix B, you know, this has been going on for now over 2 years. It started with the matrix going on to 3 years. And, you know, I bumped into Jack Davis a number of times, and he says, I'm coming, I'm working on it, I'm coming, you know, and I'm still waiting, okay?
if it's helpful, Seth is on, Jack, and who else was involved with that? Frank. Frank was involved with that to get it done.
Frank Kemp.
Camp,
Ken, yeah, TGSNA.
yeah.
Is this
So-
still the committee descriptions
Yeah.
language?
Yeah,
Okay. Thank you for clarifying.
Project that will never die.
it certainly seems that
By the
way.
time we get that finalized, we're gonna have to revisit it because we'll all have chips in our head or something. I don't want to change it.
AI will just write it.
Exactly.
I would
I
propose.
like that idea.
I would propose that, I don't think we need a dedicated representative to liaison on it, so hopefully it moves forward and we stand ready to react if and when it does.
Yeah, I think anything, we're just gonna be in an editing
Yeah,
hole.
All right. I just don't wanna lose, I just don't wanna lose sight of it,
That's what's
You
gonna
know?
happen.
yeah,
even though it,
We've already given feedback multiple times.
yeah,
yes.
Yeah, I don't think there's much there.
yeah, but I don't think it's gonna be a dedicated
It's organizational
assignment.
at this point.
I appreciate what you're saying, I agree. I'll keep it in mind. Okay, we have some people that have not
Showing up.
shown up, and therefore, I don't think other than Vincent, have not been assigned. Carolyn,
Oh, she last year.
was she?
Sign up.
With sewer?
I don't think so.
Conservation.
Ask her, she'll prove me wrong, but I mean.
New member Tony Lorino.
Yeah, yeah.
Look at that.
This is organized.
There you go, look
You
at
got
that.
lottery tickets in there?
Yeah,
It's his
okay,
passport, it's his Russian
so
passport.
Carolyn was roads and sidewalks, which we already have assigned, but I know that's a hot topic.
It is hot.
Who else?
I'm sure we'll take a third on that, or a fourth if he.
Jeff Hudson, okay, is also unaccounted for.
It was special projects is what I wrote down.
Special projects.
Which is like the best job in the
That
world.
sounds like-
I was just gonna say, that's a rapid
Right
business.
before they fire you, they put you on special projects.
I'm flashing back, hang on.
Your manager.
Uh,
And Vinny was on sewers as well, for what it's worth.
Was it?
He was,
Yeah.
he was.
You're so
But he,
right.
his passion was coastal waters. I think his.
I'm fine with Vincent on the coastal waters thing. What are we gonna do with, Jeff Hudson, or do we just wanna keep them pending until we have the next meeting and hopefully they'll show up and
Something
say,
unexpected will come up.
what do we do with you?
You were looking for a second vice chair.
That's a.
Ralph, I would just suggest reaching out to the folks that aren't here and say, you know, do you have passion for any of these?
All right.
These, you know, this is where we need some help. And by the way, I'll help you on the POCD, since I've been involved in the past.
All right, yeah, because I was not around for that. I mean, I read it numerous times, but I was not here when it was done, so I don't know what the process is, other than they've hired a consultant.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Excuse me,
Sure.
I'm gonna step out, I've gotta run to another obligation, so just wanna.
Sure,
just wanna
I think we're
disappear.
pretty much close to done, if not done. Does anybody else have any, I mean, we're in a special meeting, so
There's nothing
we
else.
really have to stick to the, agenda. So all I can say at this point is I think we're at the end of the
Mr.
meeting.
Chair, have we completed all the items on the agenda?
Yes, we have.
Then I think there's nothing else for us to do.
So, again, just to repeat, next week, excuse me, next meeting, January 9th, I will entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting, this special
R
meeting.
is
Patrick,
Yes,
Keen,
I will
second
be
Ian.
the note taker, minutes taker.
All those in favor of adjourning, raise your hands, it's unanimous.
There you go.
Oh, John, did we give John an assignment?
Nope.
Thanks for